There are some things in life that take a lot of effort to make, are made with quality in mind, and are really, truly premium. I'm talking about things like shoes that were handmade by an actual cobbler, or a coat that is so impervious to weather that you feel safe when you put it on. Some coats, like maybe the one your grandpa used to wear hunting, are so well made that they just look better the more wear and tear they get. Some expensive sports cars, too, have a certain purr that just sounds expensive. We may not always have the money today to buy these luxury items we desire, but there's no doubt that we respect them for their beauty, quality, and craftsmanship. There's not much like that on the cannabis market so far. Most products are whipped together and put on the market as quickly as possible. That's why we see so much uncured cannabis flower out there and why some vaporizers are so unsatisfying to hold. Today we're focusing on one of the few cannabis products anywhere in the country that drips luxury and craftsmanship. You are listening to Shaping Fire, and I am your host, Shango Los. Today we are going to profile Lyra Cannagars. Now I want to be clear that this is not a paid spot. I'm focusing on them because of their leadership in the industry and because I'm just totally a fan of their attention to detail. Today's guest is Ariel Payopay, founder of Lyra Cannagars. Lyra's Cannagars are handmade, contain ultra-premium ingredients, and have a style and price to match. Welcome to the show, Ariel.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, Ariel, in an industry when so much retail packaging is ugly and we have to question the quality of the cannabis contained within, it's encouraging to come across a product like yours that is not only beautiful, but also packed with top shelf cannabis. Why did you decide to serve the ultra premium market instead of the mass market?
Because there's a lot of labor put into creating a cannagar, and so it's like impossible to make it cheap, and for somebody to be paying that amount of $420 for our 6-inch cannagar, you want to make sure you have premium cannabis and no complaints. I don't want to sugarcoat crap, so
Yeah.
that's just my thing.
Were you excited about the ultra premium market because you wanted to reach out to that particular audience, or is it just because you are a connoisseur and you really only wanted to work with ultra premium inputs?
Kind of both. I just saw opening for it because nobody was really marketing their products that way. There are a few, but I just felt like this cannagar would set a garden apart, especially if they have premium product. And if people want premium product, they'll pay the money for it. So
it's nice to be in a position that you're in where you're not really competing on price. So many cannabis product folk, they're all trying to get the cheapest inputs possible so they can get their price low so the maximum number of people can buy it. But I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I actually prefer not having the cheapest product in the market because there's a certain satisfaction in providing quality, and that sounds to be your approach as well.
Yeah, because there's a couple cannagar companies that I'm starting to see show up, which is pretty cool. What I was expecting, but when I started my brand, I told myself, look, I'm sticking to premium quality materials, solventless oil, and that. So it was a big challenge trying to find that perfect garden that met those qualities. There came a point where I did get laid off with a job, and I was desperate, and all these gardens that I was meeting weren't meeting my expectations, and I almost jumped ship and just went with it and just hopefully hope that my cannagars would work out. But I was like still worried because the quality wasn't that great. But luckily, last minute, an opportunity was brought to me by Gold Leaf. They contacted me. I was like, oh my God, these guys are like perfect, all organic, and they care about the product that they give their customers. Versus like you can tell when you look at other gardens, they're just all about creating large yields and making that profit. And I didn't want that with my brand.
So as far as how you judge quality, I mean, obviously all of the legal states are having issues with pesticides in all different flavors, but what were you looking for that you would call quality flower to go into your cannagars? I mean, what were the standards you were looking to have met that you didn't really see being met until you met Gold Leaf?
I was just looking for a good garden that cared about their customers, and they grew organic and didn't use any like crazy pesticides, or and they had good flower.
Do they make
Yeah,
do they make your rosin as well, or do you do that in house?
No, we make the rosin also. Well, also we get my friend, which is crazy. He started working after me. We've been like best friends since high school. His name's he runs Polar Ice Track, so he's good for making like full melt bubble hash, and he created the hard press rosin press. And he started working there, so now we collect his bubble hash and we press that into rosin for our cannagar. So everything's solventless, everything's handcrafted. There's nothing. I try to make sure that there's nothing negative people can say about our products.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, when I first found out about your cannagars and I was looking into them, I'm like, wow, these are incredible. And, you know, if you just would have used, you know, premium gold leaf flower, they would have been amazing just in and of itself. What possessed you to go ahead and put dabbable rosin oil in there as well?
Because the more concentrates you put on there, the slower the burn, and plus you get more flavors. And yeah, people love rosin now. Rosin's like the new thing since people are trying to be clean with their cannabis now. So I looked at it like this. Before I got into this, I saw what was going on with food. Everybody's talking about on GMOs, this and that, and then you see the cannabis market booming with like hydro setups, cocoa setups. They're just feeding bottled nutrients, and I was like, well, these guys are trying their best to make their money, but nobody's really trying to create that premium product where you let the plant grow the way it's supposed to be grown, you know, with living soil. And gold leaf is the only garden that I know of in Washington State that can provide that, and we're stuck with them. It's crazy. It's just like, wow, how did that? It was like a perfect match. Like if I told you the story from beginning to end, well, it's not the end yet, but like everything is just falling into place somehow. I don't know how it happens, but you got the top flower producer in Washington, not the top flower, but premium flower producer in Washington, and then one of the premium bubble hash producers in Washington, and also started his own rosin press. And then now you have us, the Cannagars, all under one garden. I mean, like, what garden do you know in the world that has that and can say they're clean green?
Yeah, right. And then like that's where you get the whole ultra premium vibe behind it. And you know, it was actually about a year ago, actually like very much a year ago, that I first got turned on to gold leaf. We were on our way driving down to Emerald Cup, and Aaron Varney of Dockside was in the van with us, and he whipped out some of the gold leaf tangy, which is just like insane, you know? Like if you smoke tangy and go in somewhere, you don't smell like weed, you smell like tangy.
Tangy,
you know?
yeah.
It's incredible. And it was like, you know, and their packaging is nice. So yeah, if you're going to be stuck with somebody, those are good folks to be stuck with. So,
Yeah.
That's an interesting point you made, though, about how adding the rosin oil slows the burn on the cannagars, because, you know, we all know that you know, when you're smoking a joint, it can run or it can burn down faster than you want to. And I can imagine that when your cannagars are you know, big and long, and you're passing it around a bunch of folks, because, you know, your cannagars can just they can serve a lot of folks. I can imagine that having the rosin in there so that the burn is slow is a really good thing. About how long does a typical cannagar, you know, last? I mean, they've got to be more than, you know, 20 minutes, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. The Corona, the 6-inch one, it can last I've heard from 5 to 6 hours. I know of a couple that took it to Fiji, and that's all they brought, and it lasted them for 2 weeks. So they just took drags here and there. So I know the longer ones, they burn a lot slower than the petite ones. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just longer. But when you first light the tip of the longer ones, like, you don't see it budge hardly ever till it gets. It's crazy. You gotta experience it to like understand what I'm talking about. It's just amazing. So once I figured that out, I was like, damn, I gotta brand this, and I gotta market this. So
So
That's right.
what sizes do the Cannagars come in, and do you see them being sold to different niches in the market?
So we have our petite Corona, which is 8 grams of flour and 2 grams of rosin, and it's wrapped with the cannabis leaves. That one is retails for $300, and that's around 4 inches. And then our big one is the Corona, which is 6 inches, 12 grams of flour, and 3 grams of rosin. That retails for 420.
It's interesting because like at first, some people get sticker shock off of the price because it's like, oh my God, $420. But then when you see it on, like your Instagram or something, you see that there's this beautiful cannagar and it's wrapped with multicolored leaves and it's in this beautiful packaging. And, how long does it take to make, say, for example, a Corona? Because obviously there's a lot of hand artisan love going into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes around an hour, and then up to 3 to 4 weeks to cure.
One of the flourishes that really makes the final product look, really regal is that, you seal the ends with purple wax. What brought you to decide that you wanted to do something extra like that?
Man, because when I was in medical, man, like packaging was horrible. Everybody had horrible packaging. They always talk about how great of a product they had. Like, buy this. It's the greatest. It's fire. And then they throw it in like a Mylar bag. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, show that you care. Show that you care about your customers. Give them the full experience. And I'm all about that. Like, from the first visual appearance to unwrapping it to like everything. Just I want my customers to get that full experience. Because people remember that.
Totally. That's a good point. It is an entire brand experience, especially since I would imagine a lot of people are using these for celebrations. So we're going to take our first short break and be right back. You are listening to Shaping Fire. As a business owner, you are incredibly busy. In reality, you are responsible for everything your company does. You have so many responsibilities every single day that often you just don't have the time to really dig into something as deeply as you'd like. You know there is more that you could do to reach out to new customers and to encourage loyalty in the customers you already have, but you certainly don't have the time and you're not ready to hire someone full-time for that role either. For you, I recommend Blunt Branding. Blunt Branding principals Kirsten Nelson and Anthony Garcia are focused on improving your bottom line. Most marketing firms are excited to make your logo, packaging, and website very pretty, but they leave responsibility for improving your bottom line up to you. They don't want that kind of responsibility. But that is pretty much the most important part of marketing, right? Kirsten and Anthony will help you engage new customers, funnel them to your point of sale, and keep them coming back to you and telling their friends. No doubt, this is a paid commercial spot, but that does not mean they bought my opinion. I've worked with Blunt Branding on 3 projects now for various clients, and every single time they have done more than they have promised and over-delivered on results. I love how they generate new revenue and focus on that as the goal instead of just making me a pretty logo. Similarly, every friend I've referred them to has come back to thank me, and that just does not happen every day. So grab a pen and paper because the website address is coming. If you want someone to implement marketing programs that feed your bottom line, give Blunt Branding a call. They will share proven techniques to increase your audience and generate sales while using cutting-edge technology in the background that make all of this easy, automatic, and trackable. Go to shapingfire.com/Blunt Branding to find out more. You can also click the link in our weekly newsletter. Blunt Branding, marketing that makes you money. Welcome back. You are listening to Shaping Fire. I'm your host, Shango Los, and our guest this week is Ariel Payopay, founder of Lyra Cannagars. So before the break, we were talking about the artisan craftsmanship that goes into making these and how, these take, an hour or more to make and all of the very ultra premium ingredients that go inside. Did you already have a pre-existing background in making cigars and such, or did you have to teach yourself how to do this?
I kind of taught myself. Like I saw people doing the cannagars with the string method, where they form the cores around the skewer, and it just, I mean, it looked awesome to me. The first person I saw do that was an artist called Afgu Head, and he's the one that like blew my mind with these cannagars. Like, whoa, you can actually make cannagars with cannabis, and I just watched how he did his thing. But I thought in my head, I was like, there's no way this could be done in full scale production, because like that would take hours to like slowly twine buds around a skewer. So I didn't even bother doing that, but I was just always in my head trying to figure out a way to speed that core process up, because building a clean core is the biggest foundation to creating clean cannagars. And my buddy, I told my buddy, Sarang, the hard press guy, he also got fascinated by the cannagars, and he got into it, but he was still doing the string method, and I was like, there has to be another way around this, because I'm not doing this thing with string. This is not going to sell to like a garden or anything if I told him I wanted to go into business with this. So he later on, as he was rolling these cannagars, he just quit because he said it was just time consuming. But he told me a tip. He's like, you know what, if you're going to get into this, try this method. It might work. And sure enough, I took off with it. I was like, yep, this is it. This is what it takes to make these cannagars in production and full scale production. And so I just attacked it once I figured it out.
And that was just abstract enough of a description to let us know that you developed some best practices that are now your trade secrets, right?
Yeah.
So when you were trying to figure out how to make the production as reliable as possible, did you find that you were just doing trial and error, or did you go back and research how cigars are made and then kind of like cross-apply that manufacturing technique, or did you not even really bother to go to how tobacco cigars are made?
Oh man, I gotta love YouTube, because I watch so many YouTube documentaries and on how they rolled cigars, and just because you only need that one little tip to just spark that idea in your head. And man, I watched hours, and it only took me like a minute of all those hours that I watched to figure out like certain tricks on my cannagars. I mean, if you really want to figure out how to roll a cannagar, you'll get it. But if you're just gonna keep bugging people, they're not gonna tell you their trade secrets. So that's how I am with a lot of things. Like I don't have patience for people to teach me stuff or do stuff for me. So I like to figure things out on my own, which is a cool thing how I got into branding it and stuff like that. Because I didn't teach myself. I went to school for graphic design, and I have a little like photography skills. So I figured I'd just combine that and help help market my product for free.
You certainly have an aesthetic quality, because the whole package from your Instagram and showing the pictures to creating the product to all the way to the displays that you make for the stores. I mean, it's an entire ecosystem of gorgeous, which it's probably demanded to be able to get the prices that you're asking for. When you are having so much success, I can imagine that you have to continually add more folks in manufacturing rolling, and you spent all of this time kind of being mentored by YouTube and trial and error. Do you find that it's challenging to teach the new hires how to do this properly? And do you find some people that just don't have the chops for it, and you just have to like get somebody else?
Well, right now I've taught my brother, and then my wife, and also my sister-in-law how to roll. And my brother only took him like a week to learn, and same with the girls. It took them like a week or two, and once you get into it, you're flowing after that. The real problem is like streamlining the whole process, like making sure that we always have like a stock of fresh leaves that we can use, or making sure the rosin is always there and the flower is always there. But the biggest pain is the leaves, because you can't just use all the leaves. You got to use the nice ones, And out of all the leaves we grab, we only use like a small percentage of them.
One of the things that is especially cool about how the Cannagars look is that a lot of them have got two-tone leaves. And, we all love how, different ladies express themselves in the leaves, especially, if it's outdoor and fall time comes, and they start to change color, and that's gorgeous. But, it really adds to the artisan vibe of it. You're reminded that this is a product that's from nature and that these are being made by hand when they're not, uniform all the same. Each one of them, you can almost, you can see the variety of nature in that. And I think people really dig that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like when I first got into it, I always thought like, should there be a way we can make these like perfect so they look all the same? And then a lot of people are like, no, it looks original. Like each one looks unique. Just keep it that way. So I was like, okay.
With your relationship with Gold Leaf, did that come with a distribution deal as well? Or are you out there going to retailers yourself trying to encourage them to carry your product?
Well, we don't have enough product to supply the retailers. So we only work with certain retailers. Yeah. No,
yeah. Right. Right on. So, are you planning on increasing your production? Is that the idea right now? Is that you're setting up, best practices and figuring out how to do it, and then scaling up, or is it, like, hey, you're already using everything that Gold Leaf has available, and you're kind of restrained because of the inventory of quality inputs that are available?
I'm kind of in the middle of that right now, trying to see which direction I should go with my company. I have some advisors that I'm speaking to that'll help me find direction, because business is all new to me, and doing this is all new. It's crazy. I'm like doing everything, and I thought about like either licensing out my brand and to other states, or even getting my own facility to a bigger market, such as California or maybe New York or something like, I don't know, a large market like that.
Are people already asking you about the licensing? Are you already fielding calls from people who want to know your best practices?
I get a lot of messages about, hey, come here, come there. How can we carry your product and this and that? It's like a lot of people don't understand is, you can't push these out like joints and blunts or whatever. They're all handcrafted. So a lot of investors, they get when they look at that, they want to see a big return with these cannagars, with large volumes. But you can't do that. You have to respect it as an art, because if you rush this, you could ruin the quality of the product.
Yeah, and people are only going to pay the premium price if it is actually a premium product. And I can imagine that all sorts of folks who are more interested in the margins than in the quality of the product would quickly dilute the quality of what you're putting into it, whether it is in effort or in inputs.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, we're going to go ahead and take our second short break. We will be right back. You are listening to Shaping Fire. Businesses everywhere are constantly striving to reach out to people through advertising. We all know, though, that trying to reach a cannabis audience with a quality message is pretty difficult. That's why many people choose to advertise on the Shaping Fire podcast. Advertising on this show allows us time to talk about your product, service, or brand in a way that really lets people know what sets your company apart from others. Bold people who own companies know that getting into a relationship with their customers is essential. That is what we offer. We will explain your service or product and what sets it apart as desirable, and help our audience get in contact with you. It's pretty simple, really. Advertising does not have to be all whiz-bang, smoke, and mirrors. Nowadays, I find that people prefer just to be spoken to calmly, accurately, and with good intentions. If you want to make your own commercial spot, you can do that too. Because the podcast is young, but growing at an exceptionally fast rate, if you become an advertiser on the Shaping Fire podcast now, you are going to pay a fraction of the cost we'll be asking for in just a few months. And yet everyone listening both now and to the back catalog of interviews later will hear about your company again and again for years. It's a great deal for you. Pay a small amount now because the show is new, but take advantage of the huge listening audience we will have forever. Do yourself a solid and contact us today for rates on podcast and newsletter advertising. Email hotspot@shapingfire.com to find out more. Welcome back. You are listening to Shaping Fire. I am your host, Shango Los, and our guest this week is Ariel Payopay, founder of Lyra Cannagars. So before the break, we were talking about, how much time it takes to make one of these cannagars and how huge the demand is, and that you really can't meet the demand just because, you can only put out so many of these while keeping the quality high. It would seem to me that a big reason for your success is how gorgeous your social media feed is. Do you have a background in social media, or did you hire somebody on? I mean, what's the secret to your special sauce that just makes your stream so gorgeous?
No, I don't have any background in social media. I just been watching how other brands do their social media. For one, I know my cannagars were very limited, so I try to model off of clothing brands such as Supreme, how they do their marketing, and Nike, just showing little snippets of the product and hyping people up. What's that? Or, I just like creating hype. And I want to change I just want to change the lifestyle of the image of your cannabis user. It's just, people think so negative about people who smoke cannabis, and I want to change that. They're successful CEOs, business owners that smoke cannabis every day, but they don't like to admit to it. But now that they have my product, they're like, oh yeah, I smoke cannabis. This is what I smoke. And people look at it different, oh, what is that? And it's crazy. I did my first wedding, and they ordered 20 cannagars for their wedding, and whoever thought about having cannabis at their wedding like that is it's crazy.
It certainly makes it a lot easier for wealthy stoners, if you will, to identify with your product, right? Because so much of cannabis marketing is big clouds of smoke and people let's just say not acting in an premium market kind of way, let's say. And so, and your stream is filled with, people who are having some success in their life, and they're all I work hard and I deserve nicer things because I put in so much effort. And so I'm enjoying this cannagar with my friends on a beach because we can do that. I bet you that market is not only large, but really grateful to have something that speaks to the amount of effort they've put into their own lives.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just seeing people from all walks of life being interested in these cannagars. Even people I have a lot of cigar aficionados messaging me. Some of them, they've never tried cannabis before. They'll be like, oh, that is a great product that you have. I've never tried cannabis, but if that was in front of me, I'd definitely smoke it. Or you had that cigar smoker that just, they always tell me I grew up smoking weed in my high school years, but as I advanced in life, I came home and I smoked blunts and joints or out of a bong. It just seemed like it never cannabis grew up. And now that you've created this more mature side of cannabis, I want to start smoking weed again. It's kind of crazy. I always ask people, I have a lot of friends that's used to be big stoners in college or this and that, and then they tell me they just grew out of it. I was like, what do you mean you grew out of it? You still drink. Nobody grows out of drinking unless they just want to quit due to health reasons or something. And so I want to know why people want to quit smoking cannabis, and they just basically told me they just got tired of it. Just they didn't feel like they're advancing or anything. So now I got that top shelf product where they're like, yeah, I want that. That's something I want to look forward to this weekend or for this celebration or,
Yeah, it is certainly a desirous thing, I mean, there aren't a lot of products in cannabis that I kind of fetishize over, but, I've been following your Instagram feed for a while now, and I'm all like, oh, my precious, you know what I mean? I see these things and I'm like, oh man, I want one of those for myself. They really are, they're an art object as much as they're a smokable thing. When you were mentioning these folks who, toked back in college or whatever, and then they got into business and they haven't toked in a long time. Now they suddenly do. I bet you those folks need to be careful too, because going from like toking, all these years ago in college to suddenly hitting a tangy and rosin cannagar, I mean, one hit could, put a novice away.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too. Like when you smoke these cannagars, like you're super, super high, like, but you're not tired, which I don't understand. I've rolled it with indicas or sativas, and you're just not tired. You're just super high, or maybe just because I'm around people. I know for one, when I smoke the tangy, like I'm very high, and a lot of people are just talking, joking around, and it's a cool thing because like, it's really a product that's meant to be enjoyed with like everyone, or maybe just intimately, it's just.
Do you find that most people who buy it are buying for celebration? I mean, do you even come in contact with your customers? Do you know who's buying them?
Oh yeah. So a lot of people buy them for celebrations, or then I have those customers that just smoke them right as they get them. I'll just that was the funny thing. Like when people would pick up a Lyra, they'll be, oh, thank you, and then they just crack it open right there and light it. I was like, no, dude, save that for like a special occasion. It's like, well, I could just buy another one. I was like, okay, you got money like that.
He's like, damn, man. Yeah, totally. That's pretty cool. I aspire to that as well. So yeah, and so, some of those people, they're coming to get your cigars from all over the place. We've got to talk about your recent Cannagar sale. You sold a $3,600 Cannagar through Diego Pellicer retail store there in Seattle. It contained 21 grams of Gorilla Glue number 4, 4 grams of peppermint cookies rosin, and was wrapped with two-tone cannabis leaves. Dude, who the hell bought that?
I can't really say, but the person that bought it flew in his private jet just for that product.
Oh man, that's so baller. Did he contact you or the shop ahead of time to say, "Hey, I'm flying in, hold that for me"? No.
The owner of Diego Pellicer told me about it, and I was just blown away. I was just like, wow, At first, I was just wondering who's going to buy the Cannagar, but someone had to fly in a jet to make a statement with it. I was like, okay. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Crazy.
It's funny too to see, when you were originally moving into the licensed market, via your social media, you were sharing with people like, all right, we're moving from medical to 502. Hopefully they like my stuff here too. And then you started posting, images of sales receipts, and you're like, damn, this is working. And like everybody who's following is like, yeah. And, and shared in the astonishment that people wanted that kind of a premium product. But, in retrospect, it's not really all that surprising, I guess.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm just really amazed by all the attention that I've been getting, all the attention and the help that I've been getting with this product. A lot of people, especially like magazines and websites, have been asking for interviews with me, or they just place my product in their magazine for free, and usually you have to pay for something like that, which I'm very appreciative for, because they see the image that I'm trying to do. I'm not just trying to have my product out there. I'm trying to change the stigma of cannabis, and that's what they see, and with this luxury market, it's working.
I think that's something that, companies that are trying to do things the right way naturally will attract marketing. I mean, heck, even from me, right? I mean, you certainly didn't pay to be on the show today. I reached out to you because I'm a fan, right? And when you make fans, everybody wants to show you to their friends, right? So I think that says a lot about the efforts you went into to, source quality organic material, get the best rosin. The fact that you're even hiring your friends and families is really cool too. You keep that loyalty close at home, and I think it sets a good example. So thanks for being on the show today, Ariel. This has been really interesting, and hopefully it'll inspire some other folks to do businesses in their own area that is just as righteous. So lots of success to you and Lyra Cannagars.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ariel Payopay is founder of Lyra Cannagars. You can find out more about Lyra Cannagars at lyracannagars.com. And Lyra is spelled L-E-I-R-A. But also make sure to follow their fabulous Instagram at /Lyra Cannagars. You can find more episodes of the Shaping Fire podcast and subscribe to the show at shapingfire.com and on Apple iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you enjoyed the show, we'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a positive review of the podcast wherever you download. Your review will help others find the show so they can enjoy it too. On the Shaping Fire website, you can also subscribe to the weekly newsletter for insights into the latest cannabis news and product reviews. On the Shaping Fire website, you will also find transcripts of today's podcast as well. For information on me and where I'll be speaking, you can check out shangolos.com. Does your company want to reach our national audience of cannabis enthusiasts? Email hotspot@shapingfire.com to find out how. Thanks for listening to Shaping Fire. I've been your host, Shango Los.